Afternoon, guys. Well, it's Friday, so it's down and dirty woodscraft. Today we're going to talk about something to add to our kit, and that's a small fishing kit. Now, let's talk about what fishing is. Fishing is a form of trapping, really. If you're not actively out there working a line or working a lure or something, then it's really a type of trap. But instead of some steel jaws or something that's going to snap closed whenever they step on it or whatever, you're getting them to bite it and therefore get hooked. So it's the same idea. So what we're talking about is drop lines. And now, how a drop line benefits us is, one, it takes up very little space. I like to use these little tobacco tins to put them into. And we'll talk about that in a second. And what I'm talking about is something like this. Now, this is Snelled hooks. Now, this is a much too big a hook, but I got it for demonstration purpose so you can see it easy. You've got a nice hook, and it's already attached to a line. In this case, it's a stainless steel wire, and there's a loop on that end where you can hook Bankline or whatever. You can get this with fishing line on it or stainless steel on it, whichever one is better for you. Now, how I've carried this in the past is I would carry, say, 10 small hooks, because a small hook, a big fish can get hooked on a small hook, okay, but a little fish can't bite a big hook. So start with a small hook. I would have 10 small hooks, and then I would have 5 good size hooks, bigger size. I would take all the hooks together like this, and I would hold the hooks, and I would grab all the lines and I'd twist them so they all spiraled up together, and then I would coil that up inside my little tin, and then I'd run tape around. Go ahead and put on a couple of the lines a piece of lead fishing weight. Not all of them, but a couple of them, for those times when I do need to help hold it under or whatever. Now for bait. Dead trees, rotten logs are your friend. They are a haven for all kinds of grubs, worms, bugs, name it. Just start pulling the bark off. Not so much on pine trees, although you can have wood grubs in pine trees. But any of the other softer hardwoods other than pines, usually when they're on the ground or they're standing there dead rotten and you start peeling at the bark, you're going to find plenty of bait. Now if it's black, it's bitter, don't use it. In nature, usually if an insect or something is black, it's bitter and it's a very lousy bait. So just if it's a light color, tan color, or anything else other than black, use it. But black beetles, black crickets, nothing eats them, so don't bother using them. But by carrying it this way in the pack, just something small like that, and we're doing a camp out, and I'm near a water source that has fish, it gives me the opportunity to set this up to get a free meal out of it. Because if I have nice springy lines of limbs, hanging out over the water, it's very easy for me to take a piece of Bankline, hook this, get it over that line, put it down into the water, and be able to reach out and hook it and pull it back in. That way, whenever the fish strikes, the limb acts like a pole and is a spring tension, so that the fish can't break the line or pull it out of the bank. Suppose I don't have limbs over the water right here, it's kind of bare bank. Well, then what I do is I take 2 stakes about 18 inches long, and I drive them in the ground close together. And then I take a nice springy limb and I lash it to that horizontally sideways, so it's like that. And then I put my line out. That will act like a spring that way, see? It's called drop lines. Now, whenever I catch a fish, remember I said start out with small hooks. And typically what I would do is I would look around and say, yeah, there's them old rotten logs over there, or worms, or whatever I'm finding. I'll go ahead and set up. Or how about some of my extra food? That piece of Vienna sausage or whatever, or corn makes a really good, whole kernel of corn makes a really good bait. And put that out there. So we're going to be here 2 or 3 days. So I set the lines out, and while I'm back at camp talking or whatever, my traps are working. My fish. When he catches one, he'll swim around quite happily waiting for me to come check on him. Every couple of hours, I'll walk down there and check my lines. When I'm done for the day, I'm going to take up my lines. I'm not going to leave them overnight, because I don't want the fish to sit there all night, Come out in time next day, I put it back out. That way, when I catch a fish, say I catch a fish that's too small to eat, well, that's the reason I start out with a small hook. Well, I take that small fish and I gut it, and I put the guts back on that hook and put it back out. And then I take that small fish and I take the bigger hooks that I've got. Remember I said I'm carrying two sides of the hook? And I hook it on that and use that whole fish as a bait to hopefully catch a catfish or something like that. An old trick we do down here in the South is take that, 2-3 inch long little bitty fish like that, and since you've gutted it, to get the guts to bait back on the line, take the hook and go inside. We'd run the line down through the mouth and then hook the hook through the side of the body, so the hook's actually sticking out on the side. So when it clamps down, he gets the hook. Hang it up in camp and give it a couple hours so it starts to smell. Catfish come to stink. So the worse it smells, the better catfish bait it is. And then we'll put it back out there. Simply attaching Bankline to the loop on top and then hooking it either to a springy pole, like I said, or some other obstacle that will give and not run the risk of the fish breaking the line. It's a very handy little set to carry because we're going to be here several days. Well, if I get a free fish meal out of it, hey, great. If not, I ain't had a lot of time or effort, am I? Because how long does it take to rig up a couple of lines? Just a few minutes. If it's just going to be, this is going to be extra, I'll put out 3 or 4 lines. If we're doing a survival camp out, we're going to be here a week, I'll have every one of these lines in the water. Why isn't that line in the water? It's a trap. It's trying to catch you dinner. As I catch fish, I will clean fish. I will utilize the guts as bait to put back out, or hunks of skin like off of a catfish or something, or whatever, and then rotate the meat to the pot for cooking. I'll then grill the fish or I'll fry the fish. So it's a constant source of replenishment to keep me in a little fresh food. It's one of those things that it don't weigh much. It's a nothing in size, and a small tin like this is the perfect size because I can coil up all those lines. I can carry fishing lures with me as well if I want to get out there and actually work a line. That can be a lot of fun and very advantageous. But this way, this is sitting there like a trap, running and waiting for me to get a meal out of it. All I got to do is go by and check it every so often. It makes for a very easy way to feed yourself in the woods. Hope this gives you some ideas, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And thank you very much for supporting my channel. Till next time, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.